Now, looking forward, what is on your agenda for the next year? What is your priority? What are your priorities?
So personally, my priority is to continue getting out to my electorate, and then start writing plans for my portfolio areas for when we're back in government. As a Labour Party, our priority is to get back in government. You know, all we've really seen under this leadership is a disbanding of everything, an undoing of everything, a lot of talk, but we actually haven't seen any of their policy in place. So even, for example, one of the issues we're debating still is removing agriculture from the emission trading scheme. Now that's fine. Even people who support it are saying, yes, great, but then what? You know, there's no plan. It's like, we'll remove this. What are we doing instead? So I think it's time to get stability back into the government of our country.
Now, you were one of the bright spots in what was quite a dismal election for Labour, because you won your seat, whereas a lot of, and especially on the East Coast here, and Hastings and Napier, and that seats were lost. How are you finding the Labour Party now under Chris Hipkins? Because there was talk that maybe he should go, and it's going to be a fractured party. How are you finding? Is there some cohesion, and are you happy under Chris's leadership?
You know, I think it's interesting. Ever since the beginning, people have tried to find a chink in our armor. And one thing I've got to say, Chippy needs to be congratulated for is that we are still united, solid, and we're still confident in his leadership. There, Kieran McAnulty and Barb were having a bit of a laugh yesterday. They often get asked, are you gunning for leadership? That is not the case. And I don't think this is the time for that conversation anyway. Like I said, the country needs stability right now, and we have to demonstrate that.
And yourself, not now, but later on, do you see yourself in any leadership positions or are you just happy being an MP?
Well, Andrew, I didn't even see myself as an MP, but the people decided that this was the place for me, and I accept that, and I'm glad now, because I can see how I can have some impact for not only Ikaroa Rāwhiti, but hopefully Aotearoa. And so my supporters do have leadership ambitions for me, and why not? I'm definitely open to, I'm not necessarily saying the top job, but definitely, if we get back in, I'd love to be a minister, of course.
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
able to make some decisions for not just Ikaroa Rāwhiti, but that, like I said, that can impact our country.
Yeah. So just finally, or a few more questions actually, just in terms of your electorate, a lot of people are doing it tough out there. I mean, we've got an economy that is really tough, and that. What is the common cry that you're hearing from people?
Andrew, this is feedback I've given several times in our caucus. I'm, blown away by the fact that if I show up, people are often happy that I've, taken the time to go to them. And even though, so I went, for example, in Tangoio, went to a farm with contaminated chip just piled up on their land. No one's been down their driveway to see them. So there they are, living, doing all the work themselves, very, very little support, no government support at that point. And they're just like, all they're talking about is the future and their aspirations. So really what a common cry is, Andrew, is that people love where they're from, they love living in the region, and they want to continue. And to me, that's my job, is to fight for the Wairos. So, because at the moment, their concern that they may become a ghost town is quite real. And we can't let that happen. I really believe in building up the regions. I think a lot of our congestion issues, etc., in cities would go away if we made our regions more livable and prosperous for families. Most people would go back to where they're from if employment opportunities were there. And then that would therefore support our schools, local business, etc. Give more of an argument to invest in infrastructure in those smaller places. So honestly, that is it. Wherever I go, no matter how the issues they're facing. When I went to Wairoa, people were up their worldly goods, you know, covered in silt and drenched, and they were still giving me a smile and just talking about tomorrow, how they're going to, you know, rebuild and stay there.
Yeah. Do you think that is an issue, these weather events and that, and how we approach them? And at various levels, we've got councils looking at it. We've got national parliament and government looking at it as well. Do you think we're getting it right? Are we conscious that we need to maybe bold things in different places, maybe even maraes and that, move them? Do you think we're getting that right, or do you think we need to do more?
Well, a common theme there, Andrew, has been we need to listen to the locals.
Yeah.
So, you know, with the bar in Wairoa, the locals said it needs to be cleared.
Yeah.
With Te Karaka, you know, they've started monitoring their own rivers now because somehow the council monitoring it was delayed. And so half an hour in a flooding situation is vital. So, you know, the locals, they know their rivers, they know their households, and so they've got a system that really works. I think sometimes as central, you know, regional councils, sometimes with the best of intentions, sometimes we might have to get out of the way and support the locals in their solutions.
Okay, and just going forward, also, are you optimistic about the future in Tairāwhiti, and also Ikaroa-Rāwhiti? Are you confident that things are going to get better for people?
Yeah, definitely. And I'd look forward to us moving out of recovery mode and into prosperity mode. And,
Yeah.
you know, I recognize two of my portfolios, forestry and tourism and hospitality, are, you know, real areas of opportunity to have an impact throughout Ikaroa-Rāwhiti and New Zealand to create prosperity wildfire. Forestry is the interesting one, finding the balance between well, you know, right tree, right place.
Yeah.
But I'm really pleased to be able to let you know that there's a collective, you know, you were talking about councils and forestry contractors, environmentalists in Tairāwhiti now around the forestry, and I believe they had a really, really good, productive meeting. So when everyone comes to the table, we can move forward. So in short, to answer your question, yes, I am, and that's another reason even though looking at the scrutiny ministers do face, it would be great to be in a position to be able to make some decisions in those areas.
And what do you promise the electorate of Ikaroa-Rāwhiti that you'll do for them?
So I think I'll carry on doing what I said I would do. You know, when I campaigned on Andrew, I think you might remember I said that I would show up, I would listen, and I would back. And so I have done that. Obviously, there's still places in Ikaroa-Rāwhiti I need to get. I've invested in people so that every community in my area will be serviced by a staff member of mine for when I can't be there. And I made every effort to go through the electorate with them myself. Also, I will continue to bring, in my maiden speech, I said, I will bring your light to this house. And so every speech I make, I try to make sure it's informed by either the people of the electorate or stakeholders in whatever portfolio I'm talking about.
Cushla Tangaere Manuel, thank you so much for your time and all the best for the break and for the new year.
Thank you, Andrew. Good to see you looking well and you enjoy a beautiful Hawke's Bay Christmas and New Year yourself.